Today, I am joined by copywriting expert. He built a six-figure business just based on the art of copywriting. You can find out more about him at the3hourcopywriter.com. Carlos Redlich, how are you?
How are you, man? I appreciate you having me on the show. It's an honor.
It's my pleasure. I'm really excited to chat with you. You've built some amazing things just off the power of written word, which is kind of an amazing thing because nowadays everyone's obsessed with video and audio. So please tell me, why is copy so important in a video-dominated world?
Well, it's funny that you say that because a lot of this stuff that I've done is video related, but that doesn't mean it's not copy, because anytime that you do a video or an ad of any kind that has a script behind it, it was probably written by a copywriter or someone trying to be a copywriter. And so we do a lot of stuff with the written word and video and all that, but copy is kind of like the glue that holds everything together. It's the same message that you're going to say in an email and a Facebook ad and a video. It doesn't matter the method of delivery as much as what it is that you're saying and trying to get across.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, and being clear and concise and getting focused on your messaging is certainly very important. Why don't we start with something that you have seen, Carlos, in your years of experience? What are some common mistakes that people make when they're trying to create an ad and they're trying to use copy to create an ad?
It's solid. So I guess one of the things that I've noticed, there's always been this kind of wave and this I don't know, back and forth fight of what works better, long copy or short copy and all this silliness and stuff. And I've actually noticed that when you're selling a physical product, you can use very short copy. You don't need a lot of copy because the perceived value is already there. If I'm going to sell a coffee mug or whatever this is, coffee container, there's already value in here. It may have a $5 value just by looking at it, or less or more, whatever, but there's already some kind of value there. Whenever you're selling what I call air or an idea, you're selling a video or a PDF or an ebook of some kind, you almost always want to have a long copy. And the reason why is because you just need more effort to sell something that doesn't have a natural perceived value, like a physical object. So anytime you're selling an idea or something that's not tangible, you almost always want to use long copy, even if the price is very low. So for example, 3-Hour Copywriter, the site you just mentioned, we sell a product on there. It's a digital product. It's $7, but we use long copy. It's like a 20 or 30 page sales letter for a $7 offer. Now we've tried a whole bunch of variations, some short copy of that, some medium length copy. This copy here is the best converting copy for cold traffic. And I don't know why, but I would assume it's because we don't really skip a beat. We go over what they're going to get. We go over who I am, because they don't know me from Adam. They have no idea. So there has to be some copy in there to really credentialize myself as to why they should even listen to me, but also make it so it's kind of appealing enough for them to want to buy. So
I don't want to cut you off. I want to dive into that a little bit more, because this is really interesting. If it's a non-physical product, you want more copy. So correct. On your website, your landing page, presumably someone is already somewhat interested at that point. Do you feel like that's the reason why the longer copy works on your website? Do you think that if you were trying to drive traffic there, you would also want to entice with long copy?
Yeah, whenever you're driving, it depends on the traffic method too. So if we're doing Facebook ads or something, or Facebook ads, let's stick with Facebook ads primarily. So if we're sticking with Facebook ads, you do want some long copy, because a lot of times people are, and it's actually counterintuitive. People think, well, since Facebook ads were interrupting their day, they may have a short attention span, which is pretty true. That's not a lie, right? But what you also want to understand is that since they don't know you, they need more things to convince them to buy from you. And if you've only got a quick one paragraph trying to shoot your shot and close the deal, it may not work with someone who just doesn't know you, but is interested in the product, but they're like, I'll just go buy something from like someone I already know, whatever guru that might be. So you actually do want to credentialize yourself, put some testimonials, all that good stuff. But the long copy is huge, especially when you're trying to go after people who don't know you. You can actually get away with shorter, not as great copy if you're going after an audience that's warmer and already knows you. If they already know you, they don't need to go overcome any trust barrier. They know you. They know you're a good person. They kind of like you at least, and they think your products are decent. So there's not much of a convincing that needs to be done there. They just need to know if there's a guarantee, what's the price, and are there other people currently seeing results, which is a big factor, right?
I like that a lot because, like you said, it's a little bit counterintuitive. We're thinking people on Facebook have very low attention spans. Why would I give them a mountain of copy? And I also like how you mentioned that if you're selling a coffee mug, you don't need as much copy because they can physically see it. They're not putting their trust in you. So I think the copy goes a long way towards building that trust in you, that you're explaining up front the value and the knowledge that you have.
Well, one thing you can do, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but just to kind of go on that point is you can kind of do a little cheat. And I do this too, because sometimes folks are not like the best copywriter. And so they feel like, well, that means I can't sell digital products. I can only sell physical products because I'm not yet good at writing copy. And that's just not true. There's a little workaround that I do for a lot of my offers when I'm basically just lazy and I don't want to write a 5,000 word front page. Like, here's the little hack. You combine physical and digital by getting people to buy something on the front end that's physical, and then you upsell them with everything else that's digital. So your cost of goods is basically nothing except for your $1 or whatever it might be to fulfill this first product. So I'll give you an example. We sell stuff in the religious space, and we just had a hard time selling stuff in the religious space until we started selling a necklace. So we got people in the door to buy a $5 necklace or something. And then we upsold them to a monthly membership, to buy different books, to buy all this ebooks and stuff, right? But the first product was something that cost us about $1 to fulfill from China, from AliExpress.com. And that's basically it. So we took an offer that really wasn't converting well, slapped a front end physical product, have very short copy because again, the physical product is it's got intrinsic, it's already got perceived value there, right? So we just sold that. And once the person is in the door, they've whipped out their credit card, they said yes. Now all of the little upsells we offer them afterwards, they're what we call one-click upsells. So as long as we're able to provide some good evidence that this is going to be good for them, then we're basically selling them on that impulse because they've already said yes to the physical product. And now they just have to click a button to buy the other stuff. It's very similar to the, McDonald's that you buy a cheeseburger and they say, you want fries with that, right?
Yeah, really smart because you've already warmed them up. And like you said, and I think that a tangible physical product is a lot easier for people to understand the value of when they're saying, I don't know this guy from Adam, but I've already got my credit card out and I've already bought this great necklace that I'm excited about. Maybe an extra $5 a month for this newsletter might be helpful or handy. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's really smart. So so I'm just kind of curious, and this probably depends on the platform or the product or the service, but when you're developing your copy, do you find that it's better to hit on the pain point, the problem that person has, or is it better to hit on the value proposition that you bring, or is it some combination of both?
Yeah, you almost always, as a rule of thumb, there's obviously exceptions, but as a rule of thumb, you want to follow the formula problem solution. So you identify the problem and then you lead them to the solution. If you start with why you're so unique or all of the benefits, or if you start with some pleasurable thing, that usually doesn't grab their attention nearly as much as like the world is about to end, pay attention to this advice, or something is going down right now, pay attention to this advice. So you start with the problem, grab their attention, and then once you kind of have them in this, is this a bunch of BS? What is this? I don't know now you've got to lead them down your copy. And that's where you start presenting your solution, your unique mechanism, which is actually, you mentioned it a little bit here. It's a mechanism is really important. And one of those, and a lot of people don't really understand what that is. It's basically talking about how your stuff works. So if I'm going to sell this coffee mug, I'm going to talk about how this particular mug, or what, I don't even know, this isn't a mug. I call it a container.
Tumbler. You got a tumbler.
There we go. I'm like, I forget the name.
As a parent, I am very big on tumblers. Trust me. I got a 4-year-old, so everything is capped.
Oh, that's awesome. There we go. So if I'm just going to sell this, one of the things you could do is talk about how this keeps it warm, right? Maybe it was made in a certain way or whatever it is, and I'm making this up, but that's what a mechanism is. And it's really important to have that, because otherwise you're just kind of selling a big promise. You're saying, here's the problem, here's a product that is supposed to be a solution, here's all the benefits. But if you don't ever explain how it works, there's never going to be a connection. A better example than this Tumblr one is if we're selling like diet pills. Well, there's tons of diet pills. A good mechanism would be talking about the science behind why the diet pill works. Say, hey, listen, this diet pill is different than all the other diet pills because it combines XYZ ingredient, which reacts to this ingredient, which triggers your body to start losing weight. And that's why when you take 3 of these, you can lose up to 15 pounds in 30 days. It has to be a logical kind of piecing it all together. And a lot of copy misses that. A lot of copy starts with a problem. They credentialize themselves, say, hey, here's who I am. Here's why you should listen to me. Here's a solution. Here's the benefits of that solution. Here's testimonials. Here's frequently asked. They literally get about 80% of it right, but they forget one of the most important ingredients, which will push their copy over the edge, which is how does it work? And if you want to be even a little bit better with this, one of my buddies, Stefan Georgi, talks about this a lot, and he's really good at mechanisms. And one of the things he talked about is talking in the beginning about what the mechanism of what you did before and why it didn't work. So he explains this better than I do, but I'll do my best. So essentially what you would do is if you've tried losing weight before and you've bought program after program, the reason that's not working is because of XYZ, right? That's the explanation of why it's not working. And then later in the copy you describe, and that's why this product works, because of the XYZ reacts to this chemical and does this and whatever. So explaining why it didn't work before and why this new product can help you achieve that same goal, but in a new way and how it works, that's really important. Hopefully I didn't confuse people. I was trying to explain it, but.
No, honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head. You want to just start by the pain point, why they're suffering, why you're identifying this is the problem that you have, right? And then saying, this is how I fix it. And what I think is interesting about what you said, Carlos, is depending on the type of product or service or the complexity, you adjust your copy accordingly. There's no like one size fits all. One thing that really fascinates me, and just to kind of back up a little bit to our attention deficit problem that we've got when it comes to social media, how do we stop them from scrolling? Please, that's what advertisers want to do. Stop the scroll. How can we stop people from scrolling with copy?
So if we're doing stuff with like Facebook ads, is probably a good example, right? With scrolling and all that.
Yep.
It's something I wish was not the case, but it happens to be the case. Copy is secondary in that instance, right? Copy doesn't stop them dead in their tracks. They'll glance over copy for the most part, even with a killer headline. The thing that stops them is the picture or the video. Now, I'm more of a fan of using pictures unless I'm doing some other type of strategy or whatever, but usually if I'm just trying to send people from cold traffic to go buy a widget of some kind, I use a picture over a video, which seems counterintuitive. A lot of people use videos, but I do too, but I've seen images work better. I'm just curious, do
you think it's better to use just a picture of the product, or maybe like a funny picture or a scary picture, something to kind of like jog them, or just like a picture of your tumbler? Or maybe someone, drowning in coffee that spilled on them.
So the best types of pictures that I've seen are where you actually do some editing on them yourself. I don't know the actual terminology for this, so I'll just try to explain it the best possible way. So if you were to take a picture of yourself, you can go onto your phone and edit it and make it so it's, maybe you're a little bit darker or crisper, or the background is a little crazy, right? That's basically what you want to do. You want to take your normal picture and just kind of, I don't know what it's called, but like
make it weird or different.
Make it weirder by like 20%. There's like little gauges on my iPhone that says like increase whatever it's called by 20%, and it changes my color and everything around me is kind of funky. So I just do it by like 20 or 30%, and that's what I use. So I'll take a generic picture. Here's my coffee. I do this, and then have a weird picture, and that'll stop people in their tracks. Another thing that I actually learned from my girlfriend's 15-year-old sister, who's like an Instagram master. I guess it makes sense because she's in the age group that's all they do, right? But she showed us and taught me something really interesting. We get better results now instead of having group pictures if it's a one-person picture, because what will happen is sometimes when we're scrolling and you see a picture of 3 or 4 people, you're not sure whose profile you're really looking at. You're like, I don't know if this is an ad, and people just kind of go by it. But if it's somebody just kind of staring into the camera or something, and it's like a weird, funky picture, you get locked. I don't know why, but you just kind of get locked into that picture. And that's what we learned from my girlfriend's 15-year-old sister.
Yeah, it's a little bit more engaging. I think I heard Sean Cannell from Think Media talking about that. When you're creating your YouTube thumbnails, you really want to have a face that's got an expression, and eye contact is a big part of that. So we've gotten their attention with the picture here, Carlos. So they're locked in. We've got their picture. What would be an example? Let's take the tumbler, for example, because this is a pretty simple one, I think, to comprehend. What would be the type of copy or the type of headline that you might want to put there to entice them to learn more, read more?
So what I'll do is I'll just give you guys like a 5-step formula, and then I'll apply it to this, right? So that way I think it might be a little better to understand. So I'll start with the 5-step formula first, and then we'll do the example. So step 1 is a yes question or a yes phrase. Step 2 is a story to relate. Step 3 is the big aha moment. Step 4 is you suggest the possible solution. And then step 5 is the call to action. So let's make one up with this tumbler. So a yes, step 1 would be a yes question or a yes phrase. So love coffee, question mark. Yes, that's a yes phrase, right? Step 2, story to relate. I love coffee so much, but one of the things I hate is that every time I wake up in the morning and pour myself a cup of coffee, 20 minutes later, it's freezing cold.
Yep.
You wait another hour and you can't even drink it. It's like an icicle, basically. But okay, so that's like assuming that's my story to relate with people. That's the problem I'm relating through a story. Step 3 now would be the big aha moment. But then something crazy happened. I was sifting around online and I stumbled across a really cool website that had these crazy tumblers for sale. And guess what? These things will keep your coffee warm for 6 hours straight, guaranteed, right? So there's my step 3. Step 4 would be suggest a solution. Now, this tumbler's worked for me. Heck, it's worked for millions of people across the world. Maybe it'll work for you. Now, that's really important because now what it tells the person is saying, hey, this has worked for a lot of people. And they're like, oh, shit, I really hope it works for me now, right? And so when you tell them it's worked for a lot of people, worked for me, maybe it'll work for you. You're not being too hardcore salesman, but you're pushing it in their face.
Right.
Now, the last step, step 5, is where you just naturally transition and say, to see if it is a good fit for you, just click here and claim it for free, just cover shipping and handling. Something like that.
Really interesting.
That's a quick 5-step pitch.
Yeah, and what I love about that is it's so practical, it's so actionable, no matter who you are, whether you're an experienced Facebook advertiser or you're just trying to build your business, you can really use that formula. That's really, really great stuff. And of course, you can find out more about these techniques at Carlos's website, the 3hourcopywriter.com. Carlos, I want to go a little bit deeper into the current situation. We're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, and so a lot of people are afraid, they're concerned. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. Do you think that you need to adjust your copywriting in any ways to match this current need? Because the world is very different now than it was 3 months ago. Have you adjusted your copy at all?
Yeah, to a degree. I mean,
let me go a little bit deeper into that. Do you
Yeah.
think that your copy should be more about we're in this together, or this is the problem that we solve?
It can actually be a little bit of both. The thing that you want to take away from this is you want to be as transparent as possible. So one of my Facebook ads, I sell in the religious niche, and I also sell just in the internet marketing space, like a lot of other folks. So internet marketing space, is highly regulated now by the FTC. The feds, as soon as you start making any kind of volume, you start getting looked at and stuff. So you have to watch out with what you say. So one of the things that I kind of figured out was, I'm just going to tell people the truth, right? It sounds crazy, right? It doesn't. So all you do is I went to the FTC's website, looked up internet marketing, and it says, here's what an internet marketing scam is. And I copy and pasted their entire description of what an internet marketing scam is. And I literally pasted that as my ad. And at the end, I basically say, now this is what an internet marketing scam is. To avoid these types of scams is to get with someone who's legitimate, book your call now and talk with one of our coaches. Because we literally put an entire disclaimer as the ad, and that ad worked so freaking well. My closer didn't have to really close people because they knew we weren't lying to them. We were literally telling them, look, there's tons of people who invest $5,000 into a course and don't ever get anything out of it. They invest $20,000 to a funnel. They never make a freaking sale. Yeah. We're not those types of people, but you have to understand that is a reality of business and life. The big difference is we actually stick with you so that we work with you for the next 3 or 6 months. So if, God forbid, you don't see sales, you still have someone you can rely on to work with you through that. So you're being transparent. We didn't really change our offer. We still build funnels for 15 or 25 grand for people. But the biggest difference is we stopped saying, hey, do you have a funnel that needs to be built? And we started saying, hey, here's what a scam is. You got to watch out for all this stuff, especially now with the coronavirus. People are taking advantage of you. Don't get taken advantage of. Talk to me instead, because I'm the one telling you all the stuff, right? So it's very interesting. I would say that we were already kind of going in this direction anyway, but I think because of the coronavirus, there have been a lot of scammers out there scamming people. And like even banks are telling I get emails from Bank of America saying, watch your bank account for recurring charges and this and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this is crazy. So to avoid a lot of the headaches of that, just be extra transparent. And as long as you're what I call paying to play, as long as you know your numbers and you're spending money on Facebook ads, you can do stuff like this, or YouTube ads, or any kind of paid media, because as long as you can control your numbers, you know how much it costs to acquire a lead, you know all that good stuff, you can kind of do almost, I don't want to say you can do anything, but you can do a lot of these things that may seem counterintuitive, like copy and paste something from the FTC that would normally, people would say, oh, if I post something from the FTC that's talking about how my service is a scam, people are not going to want to hire me. But that's not true at all. You just warn people of all the other bad versions of other people in this, you know, you warn people of all the bad people in our industry and they come to you.
Yeah. And
so,
I think it's really important that you're always trying to think outside the box, because if you're just trying to do what everyone else is doing, you don't stand out. And trying to think outside the box, like that FTC example, is very, very important. And I think that segues nicely into my next question about testing. So let's say you come up with an ad and you think it's great, you love it, you're going to post it up. How many different iterations of that ad are you going to put onto Facebook?
So we do it, I don't have an exact number for you, but one of the things that we'll do is we'll have, like Facebook allows you to put in multiple headlines and it'll automatically just start testing it for you. Okay. So we probably do like 3 or 4 different headlines, and then we have a bunch of different pictures in there, maybe like 5 or 6 different pictures. And then it kind of just rotates with the same body copy, but with different pictures and a different headline. Yeah. The body copy hasn't been the most critical. It's so funny because most people think from a copywriter would harp on this copy, but it hasn't been the most critical thing. The picture is really probably the most critical part of the whole deal because it stops people. And if you don't stop people, the best copy in the world is irrelevant. So that's probably the biggest thing I really try to focus on. Instead of switching copy, which can be, you know, it could be a little bit of work. Some people write faster than others. If you try to write 10 ads, it may take me 10 minutes. It may take someone else 10 hours, who knows, right? So, but it's much easier to change a picture and still get some results that you can start testing quickly.
I like that. I like that. You certainly don't want to just, I think a really common mistake of newbies is they just put up a post, they boost it, and then they're like, it didn't work. I think I'm going to just go back to direct mailing people. I think that's a pretty easy mistake to make.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm curious, what do you think about email marketing? Email marketing has been around a long time. I know personally, I very seldomly will open up an ad. What do you think, where do you think email marketing stands in the current workplace?
I mean, you still need it. I don't want to say it's like the end all to be all, like what I used to say years ago, because response rates have dropped down. Like I'll probably get 10% opens on something I used to get like 30% open rates on, right? Yeah. So it's just dropped down 100%. But it's like free money. They're already on your list. As long as you set up an autoresponder for, you know, a week or 2 weeks, or the longer the better, that's basically free money because you're not paying for these people to continue to be on your list. They're already on your list. They've either opted in or purchased something from you. I look at it like it's just found money. It's not like my main, I'm all email marketing, going crazy. Maybe I should be. But it's just like gravy on the train. I rely on my Facebook ads and then my back-end memberships that I push people into. And then the big thing that really works for us is we use a software or platform or something called Twilio, and it integrates with our funnel. So whenever somebody purchases from us, they get an automatic text saying, hey, here's your purchase, because that way they actually get their order delivered. Everybody checks their phone. But if I were to send their delivery through email, it may go in the spam box and I could get a refund because somebody just didn't get their freaking email. Right. Yeah. So I don't want to handle that, or I don't want to deal with that. Another thing that really worked well with the Twilio and text messaging thing is we no longer send people to opt-in pages, only on very rare occasions. I'm actually about to do it now, so I can't really say that. I'm actually going to do this now. But 80-90% of the time, we don't do that anymore because it's too easy now to send them to a low-ticket product to purchase something for like $5 or $7. We can at least try to make back our money. And even if we don't, they're just a much better quality lead because they had the intent to purchase something, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that. And then with Twilio, we get like our results are far better than with abandoned carts using text messages and email. So when somebody would abandon cart on our funnels, we would send them 3 emails and all that good stuff, but it wasn't really getting that much of a traction. Like we really wasn't working that well. But as soon as we switched to just having text messages go out to anybody who abandoned cart, I mean, it's so much better. We get sales every day from text messages because as soon as they leave the site, an hour later, they say, hey, you forgot your necklace, go check it out here. It's free. Just cover the shipping. Something, you know, and we hit them every day until they buy or die. And it's
well, and that's all automated too, right? You're not physically going in there and typing the text. You've set up this infrastructure, this backend. And I think that's really the power of the internet and leveraging these automated systems. I do the same thing with Privy. I've got, you know, a half dozen to a dozen different emails. So as soon as someone signs up for my email list, I can get a better feel for what they're interested in. I really like that idea about texting because, you know, I'm much more likely to look at a text than I am an email, I think.
Well, it's also annoying. Nobody likes to see that they have a reminder on their text message. Most people like to clear that shit out, even if they don't. Even if it's spam, we open spam and like clear that. I want it back to zero. You know, at least that's me and a lot of people I know. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. But if you see I mean, I have 50,000 emails in my inbox that haven't been read. So it's like 50,001 isn't going to catch my eye. You know?
Well, and I think that's why it's important that you're trying to filter in the right type of people too. That's something that you can really execute on with good copy. You don't want people signing up for your email list that have no intention of actually reading your emails, right? Do you have any tips or tools, Carlos, that can help people to actually filter in and bring the right people in?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do is I actually, like I said, I mainly don't do those types of, like I don't do an opt-in page anymore. A very rare occasion. I'll actually share an occasion where I will use it. But most of the time I don't do that because you get it freebie seekers. That's what you're paying for. You're getting a bunch of people to opt in for a free report or a free newsletter or a free XYZ. It's just not as powerful of a lead. But if you send them to a low ticket product page, even if they don't buy, they put in their information with the intention to buy, and that's a different type of opt-in, because even though they came onto your list, they put in their information on this buy page and then put in their credit card info, they've now been added to your abandoned cart list. And an abandoned cart list is very valuable for anybody that's trying to do high ticket sales as well. So you can call these people and say, hey, it looks like you almost invested in our XYZ program. For some reason, it didn't go through. I just want to follow up and see if you're still interested in that. And they usually say, yeah, absolutely. I just didn't have my card on me, or I was driving, or whatever the thing was. You can pick up a lot of sales because the intention behind those types of opt-ins is they wanted to buy something. It was just a convenience thing of why they didn't. They didn't have their wallet or whatever it is.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I mean, even your worst case scenario is they say, you know what, this wasn't for me. I'm going to unsubscribe, which isn't necessarily a bad thing anyway, you know, because you don't want to pay for all these bad leads in your list.
Right. So I'll give you an example of when I do use it. So I have one of our sites, yourcasestudy.com. It's where we sell people a done-for-you funnel. And basically, it's an opt-in page. However, the opt-in page says accepting new client, or now accepting clients, discover how entrepreneurs in whatever city are building an online business, something along those lines. But it's basically, and it's basically a pitch. Like, they know what they're getting into. There's no like free shit. Like the free, I'm sorry for cursing. The free thing on here is like, hey, get your free case study that we're going to, so where we show you how we do this thing that we want to do for you. And literally on the headline though, it says now accepting new clients. So anybody who opts in, understand, and they opt in with name, email, and telephone number. So, and it's a force, they have to do the telephone number. They can't opt in to get the case study. So they know we're going to call them. They know this is about getting clients because it literally says now accepting new clients. So that's the only time when I would do an opt-in page where I'm not trying to break even, because at least even if I don't break even on that front end, I have a higher chance to trying to close a higher ticket deal, because the intention, they already know what they're signing up for. They know they will be getting pitched something. It's just a matter of what.
Yeah, super, super smart stuff. Super important, because you don't want to spend your time chasing people that aren't going to convert to anything meaningful. Right. Really like that. Really smart, Carlos. Carlos, before we get into the world famous rapid fire here, please tell everyone where they can find out more about how to get great at copy.
So if anybody's interested in hiring us to write copy for them and build them a funnel, you can actually go to that website I just dropped, which is yourcasestudy.com, yourcasestudy.com. And if you're interested in learning how to become a six-figure copywriter, then just go to 3hourcopywriter.com, the number 3, so 3hourcopywriter.com.
Love it. Love it. Carlos, rapid fire here. What is a must-have item that every entrepreneur or business person should have that costs less than $25?
Less than 20. Oh, damn, I was going to say a phone.
Yeah.
Can't do that one. Less than 25.
Yeah, that's a very special type of business that uses a burner phone under $25, but that's not really
that's a special type of street pharmacist. Man, $25. That's an interesting one. Gosh, I'm really trying to, I don't know, $25? This is not as rapid as I thought it was going to be. I'm sorry about that.
Make you think a little bit.
All right. So, I mean, definitely you have to have a phone, and this doesn't necessarily cost anything, but the biggest thing that helped me, when I was like really, like I had no money. I was like on food stamps and shit. My first $10,000 a month, which is usually like an initial thing for a lot of people. It's like, I can't wait to make 10 grand a month. And then you hit it and you're like, it's really not that, it's not that much. But anyways, you hit 10 grand a month, right? And the thing that helped me do that my first time is I just met the right people. So I'm not a fan of networking necessarily, like going to just random business networking parties. I think that's a little silly. But if you go to a specific digital marketing type of networking event or seminar or free get together, I'll tell you one. Or you come to one of my $40 poker games, because I host a $40 poker game here in Arizona with $1 million entrepreneurs. That would be better, because even if you're the brokest dude at the table, that's fine. You give up $40 to lose to all of us, but you get to build a connection of people who made as low as 100 grand a month to as much as $1 billion in sales. It's real shit. And they just fuck around with a $40 buy-in, because $40 is like so little to just play and have fun with, but you're building a network of people who are serious. So there we go. Pick up poker. That's a good habit. Get some gambling under your belt. I
will say that the most important thing, I think, is the people you know. And I wish that's something that I had learned earlier in my life, because the people you know is everything. Carlos, what's your favorite social media platform?
Facebook.
Love it. What's your favorite podcast?
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, just signed exclusive with Spotify too.
100 million.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and they made $1 billion off it, I believe.
Yeah, I heard 5 billion from Valuetainment. Yeah, 5 billion, but who knows? I think even more powerful than what they made is what they're taking away. YouTube losing, and they're positioning themselves as a video leader, because people are going to watch the Joe Rogan podcast. So that's pretty impressive.
It's actually Valuetainment is another. I probably watch Valuetainment more than I watch Joe Rogan. So,
yeah, Valuetainment's good, great
Patrick
stuff.
is a badass. One of our copywriters ended up writing copy for him.
Really?
Pretty cool. Yeah, not me, but my buddy Robert Walsh, he's in our mentorship, and he's like, hey, I just wrote some copy for Grant Cardone. I'm like, what? That's awesome, dude. And he's like, hey, man, I just wrote some copy for Patrick Bet Dave. I'm like, what? That's awesome, dude. You're killing it.
Yeah, he's doing something right, man. That's another reason.
He's doing something right.
Yeah. If you had one business task to do for the day, what would you do? One task.
100%. I would be on the phone closing deals. That would be the only thing I focus on. I can outsource fulfillment, and I can pay for leads. It's just closing them. That's the number one skill you have to have.
Love it. Final question here. If you had a billboard that was going to reach millions and millions of people, what would you put on that billboard, Carlos?
If I didn't have to worry about compliance and stuff, I would say here's how to make $100,000 in 12 months guaranteed, even if you suck at selling.
I can dig it. That's a good sell right there. Well, Carlos Redlich, thank you for your time. Really loved the discussion, and have an awesome day. Keep it up, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.
My pleasure.